A new multi-million-dollar international connections facility is open now at Halifax Stanfield. This as the airport announces yet another direct flight to Europe. I'm here with Joyce Carter, CEO and President of the Airport Authority. So tell me what's going to be different for international travelers now that this is up and running. I know this has been in the works for quite a while.
It has been. So we announced the facility about a year ago, and we were delighted to open it last week. And so the International Connections Facility, as a passenger, what you're going to see is you're going to see an improved experience if you're connecting from Halifax on to another airport in the country. So when you arrive at Halifax Stanfield on eligible flights, you do not have to collect your bags and you don't have to leave the secure area. You're going to be able to continue on your journey without having to be rescreened, which is really awesome because it allows you to have a better connection experience. You can enjoy the amenities in our hold room. You can just relax until you connect onto your flight. What it also means from a cargo perspective is that it attracts wide-body aircraft, and I know we're going to talk about Edelweiss. And so wide-body aircraft allows us to improve exports into Nova Scotia, exports out of Nova Scotia in the belly, what we call the belly of these aircraft. And so this facility as well will allow us to receive larger airplanes. We can use the belly to not only obviously carry the passengers' bags, but to carry exports outside of Nova Scotia. So an improved passenger experience, great cargo exports, and really just economically an improvement for the region.
And this isn't the end of the renovations at the airport. What else is coming in the future?
So this facility that we opened last week is kind of part one. If you're a passenger that has chosen arriving internationally to stay in Halifax, we're as well expanding and renovating the facility that you will use as an arriving passenger. So when you arrive in Halifax, and if you're staying here, as you know, you'll have to see Canada Customs and clear the facility here. That experience for you as an arriving passenger is being improved. So we're renovating the existing area that you're in, making it larger, making it brighter, retheming it so that when you arrive in Nova Scotia, there's really a sense of place as to where you're coming and what our beautiful region has to offer.
Now, Zurich is the next nonstop destination. How did that all come about? How often is it going to be operating?
So you're right. We announced last week a new flight with Edelweiss, who is a carrier out of Zurich. So they are operating this summer at Halifax Stanfield twice weekly. They're flying an A340, which is a large aircraft. So all the advantages I just mentioned, we're able to take advantage with this flight. It's a new connection for us. It's one that we've been working on for a long time. I always say these connections and building this business takes some time. We're delighted to have them service the market. First time for this carrier, first time for Zurich. And really what it does is it provides twice weekly service through the summer into Zurich for Halifax, but as well incredible inbound connections for our tourism, which we try to support throughout the summer.
Well, talk to me about the interest in European travel. First of all, I guess, are you surprised that Halifax hasn't become a bigger hub in the past, considering it is much closer than Montreal and Toronto?
Right. I wouldn't say that I'm surprised. One of our strategic priorities has been to develop Halifax Stanfield as a hub, and that's exactly what we're doing. So our international traffic today is higher than it was in 2019, which is awesome, and is growing substantially year over year. And to your point, if we can provide those nonstop connections into Europe, the flight with Edelweiss is just 7 hours, but some of the other flights that we have, which are great connections into the rest of Europe with carriers like Air Canada and WestJet, really does allow you as a traveler into Nova Scotia and leave in Nova Scotia to have a nonstop connection rather than to hub over another airport in Canada. So it's a strategy we've had for a while. Of course, with the pandemic, that took a pause, but we're really delighted to be growing it substantially as we have over the last 2 years.
Now, right now, a number of them are limited in the time of year, spring to fall. Do you ever see a year-round expansion to some of these flights to, say, Barcelona, maybe to Zurich?
Yes, so we are very fortunate to have Air Canada fly year-round into London Heathrow. That's a service that's daily out of Halifax. That flight is just around 5 hours and is, as I mentioned, year-round. So it not only flies through the summer, which is our peak tourism, but as well through the winter, fall and winter. The other services are all what we call seasonal. So we have two seasons, winter and summer. They are our summer service to support tourism. We work really hard with the carriers that are providing those services to grow what we call the shoulder season. So when you look at the months that they chose to fly for tourism mostly, and obviously as we build the business connections, then we have the data to show how passengers are going to Barcelona as an example to say, okay, can we take that service, which is a summer service, and start to expand into the seasonal fall and spring? And if that provides a good return for the carriers, then we look to go year-round with it. Ideally, wouldn't it be great to have those services year-round?
Of course, the tensions between U.S. and Canada have impacted travel. What are you seeing in terms of flights to and from the U.S.? Are people still going to the U.S. in the same numbers?
Yeah, so it's interesting what's happening in Halifax. I like to describe it a little bit as us bucking the trend. And so our transborder numbers, these would be nonstop flights into the U.S., are actually up year over year. So from 2024 to 2025, we've seen double-digit growth in passengers through our transborder facility. When you think about service to the U.S. in the summer, it is mostly inbound. So Americans are coming to our beautiful region to experience and enjoy Nova Scotia. Those flights are highly booked this summer, and we're actually booked through the spring. When I look forward into the fall, we don't have data yet on the fall and winter, but this is mostly outbound, so it's Nova Scotians wanting to get to warmer climates. We're watching the numbers closely to see what the outbound numbers will be in the fall, but definitely Halifax has seen growth year over year in our transborder numbers.
All right. Well, thanks for keeping us up to date on this. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for your interest.